So this is my presentation, GDC, networking, and you, or how to not look like a goober in front of hundreds of industry professionals, which is really the point. All right, who am I? I am a senior software engineer at Jackbox Games, formerly at EA. I have 10 years of game industry experience, so I've been around a little bit. And I once fragged John Romero in a game of Doom at GDC. For real, I did that. Yeah, I don't. All right, so GDC is an industry event for professional game developers. It is not a fan convention. It is not PAX. It is not TwitchCon. You are not going there as a fan. You are there as a future or current professional. Leave your cosplay at home. I've seen this. Your significant other should not tag along unless they also want to become part of the industry. I have seen this. Also, your mom should probably stay at home too. I have also seen that. It's awkward. You are primarily there to learn and network. Both of these things are very, very important, perhaps equally so. You're going to go to talks, because the talks are awesome. They're like half the fun, but you don't want to spend the entire convention in a lecture hall. It's not school. It's a real thing that you want to go to and you want to learn from other people. And you're not just going to learn from, you know, the guy giving the big talk. And there's going to be some really big talks that you're really going to want to go to that you're not going to get into, and don't be bummed out. It's just going to happen. There's going to be a bunch of opportunities that you're going to have for networking, and I'm going to tell you about those and how not to make yourself look dumb. Oh, sorry, this is the wrong presentation. Nerd joke. Okay, whatever. Before we talk about the opportunities you should have, you should always have your resume, your business cards, some paper, some mints, and some water. These are just basic things that you should have at any convention, but especially this one, especially the business cards and resume part, because if you want a job, also you don't want to like die, which not having water might cause you to die. All right, opportunity number 1 out of 5. There are going to be a lot of other students there, like probably like an almost absurd number, and they're an excellent resource. Like they're your age, they have experienced way different things than you, and they're also connections. You're not just gonna like see other students there and you're not gonna know all the same things as them, and they're not gonna know all the same things as you, and that's important. And you're gonna wanna talk to them, and they're not your rivals. They're not your rivals for jobs, they're not your rivals for opportunities, they're not your rivals to get into a talk. They are there as a resource to you as much as you are to them, and you should use that resource and not just think, you know, I shouldn't talk to this guy because, you know, he wants the same job as me, and so screw that guy. Don't do that. It is very easy to only try to engage with people you see as professionals, so that you might go in there and you'll be like, I only want to talk to Gabe Newell. He's not going to talk to you. He won't even talk to me. Trust me. Our time is limited. Professionals, we only have so much time while we're there. So don't just talk to people that you think you can get you a job. Like, you're just not going to get all of our time. It's just not going to happen. So you want to make sure that you don't just sit there like crying because you didn't get to talk to your favorite game developer, or you didn't get as much face time as you wanted with somebody who maybe has more industry experience than you that you think that you could learn from. I have seen over the years many people get jobs in the industry through recommendations from other students. This happens all the time. When we hire young people, one of the first things we ask when we look for internships is, do you know anybody? This happens all the time. So don't think that just because you spent your time talking to a bunch of other students and had a good time that was a waste of time, because it's not. All right, opportunity number 2, roundtables. And this is actually my favorite one. Roundtables are very sparsely attended by students for some reason. I don't know why, because they're like one of the best places to learn and to meet people that you want to talk to and learn, like to like get to that next level of understanding about certain topics. This is where the professionals go. Like, we spend an absurd amount of time sitting in there because we like to talk, obviously. And this is where like we spend a lot of time, and I go there and I'm like, why did I sit here and I talked to a bunch of people who've been doing this for 10 years, and it was just great and it was really fun. But if there had been some students here, it would have been cool because they could have asked us questions, because sometimes we don't necessarily know what to talk about a certain topic because there's nobody like who's inquisitive, because we have already done everything. So when you go to these things, listen. So it's at first like you're gonna want to, like, one of the most annoying things in the world is like you can contribute, but one of the most annoying things in the world is like I was at a table with literally the guy who invented OpenGL, And there was a kid there who would not stop talking about like materials-based rendering, and it was like the guy, he invented it. Just let him talk. And it's okay to like be inquisitive and stuff, but like listen, it's you'll learn a lot by listening and ask questions. And so the professionals who attend these things, we love to talk. And so what you're gonna want to do is you go to these things and then schedule about 10 to 15 minutes after a roundtable. Shit. And because usually the room doesn't just like instantly clear out. Everyone kind of sits around for a while and just talk. Like find the one person in the room that you really wanted to like get more info from and like walk up to them and just talk. Like the people, they love it. It's fine. And don't think that if they have to go somewhere, they'll run. If they don't, you're not wasting anybody's time. All right. The third one, which is actually the most dangerous one, is, and I'll get to the danger part later, the convention floor. So there's going to be a huge floor. It's going to be full of places that are hiring. It's going to be full of like businesses looking to sell tech. It's going to be full of like swag. Careful with the swag, trust me. And you're going to want to be careful here because there's a lot of potential, but it's also a really easy way to waste your time. You're not going to have a lot of really good networking opportunities on the convention floor, but the ones that are there are good because they're going to lead to jobs because that's where the jobs people generally are. But if someone's doing mock interviews in this area, which happens pretty frequently, do them. It's fun. And also one of the big things is that there's going to be a lot of indie developers there, and they're going to want you to come play their game. And this is a really good opportunity to learn how to give feedback in a positive way and practice that. Because a lot of the time, like you have you see maybe like 10 games a year of your student friends, and it's like, that's not enough experience in giving feedback. And so you want to like, no one's going to like change their whole game. You can't go up there and be like, someone's working on a real-time strategy game and you're like, what if it was PUBG? And you're like, shut up. So don't do that. But like go up to them and just be like, hey, like think of like one cool thing that you'd want to change about it. Or just one cool thing that you think is something you like about the game and something you think they could like make better. And those are the kinds of conversations that you'll want to have because they're everywhere. There's tons of indie games there and they love to talk about their game. And so play their games, like learn, like find a couple games that you really like and like send them an email and be like, hey, we met at GDC. I loved your game. Let's talk about it more. Those are tons of contacts there. There's going to be a bunch of small tech companies there, like, and small is not really a good word. They're not really game companies. It's just like Keep's going to be there, Media Bricks, all those people who like sell ads and stuff. They are everywhere there. They are not there for you. Trust me. But they will talk your ear off forever. You will not be able to get them to shut up. And you will, if you're too polite about it, you will waste hours listening to these people. If you want to make analytics software, which I doubt, but if you do, then spend time talking to these people. If you don't want to make analytics software, just walk by. It's not worth your time. Okay. Next one is bonk. Interviews, which is a weird kind of way to network, but it's also a very important part of networking because you're not going to get every job that you apply for, and you're going to have a lot of opportunities at GDC to apply for jobs and do interviews, both mock and real, and you have to turn that into an opportunity to meet that person. Like they shouldn't just be like this wall in between you and a job. They are someone that has opinions, that has desires in the games industry, who has a career of their own, and you can learn from them as much as you can learn from everybody else. If you don't get a job, like talk to that person about like, what can I do to improve for next time? I mean, I'm sure you've been told that 1,000 times, but even in these situations where it's like you might do 10 of them in one weekend, like it's an important resource. When you're done, if it didn't go well, which will happen, don't like just slink off. Like it's really like it's a really bad look. Like I've interviewed people who knew they sucked, they knew they did bad, and they're just like, can I leave? And you're like, dude, finish the interview. Like, let's talk about this. Like, and I don't want you to be sad. Like, it's I'm a human being. It's fine. You're going to be waiting in line for like ever. It's just, if you have a scheduled interview, great, but you might not. And then you'll be stuck in a line for forever. Talk to people around you. Don't just, there are going to be other students, other young people in the line. The same way you can talk. So like the next slide is, no, I already did that slide. The slide about, other students and stuff, all that stuff applies when you're in line. Just hang out. They're not your enemy. They might not even be going for the same job as you. Just talk to them. Learn from these people. They know a lot, and they're going to be in this industry. They're going to be your your co-conspirators. All right, and then the last opportunity you're going to have is the shittiest one. Parties. All right. GDC has a lot of parties. You might get invited to some. You might not. Go. They're fun. Remember, even at a party, this is really important. Even at a party, you are representing yourself, your school, and your family. You do not want to look bad. And parties are a really good place to look bad. I've met people at parties that I was like, if I ever see that guy again, I'm gonna throw up. If you're of drinking age, which some of you are, drink very sparingly at these events. Like, nothing is worse than being thrown up on by like a young person. This has happened to me. This is a thing that's happened to me. It's not pleasant, and I don't want to hire that person now. You're gonna get invited to parties. Those same analytics companies that are running around throwing swag at everybody and trying to give you 10% off a Lyft or whatever. They're gonna throw parties everywhere. You can go to them like all industry people go to those parties just because they're free and they give you free alcohol. But you're gonna go and they're gonna do the same thing they did elsewhere. They're gonna talk your ear off and they're gonna try to sell you something. And once they realize that you're not there to buy anything, they're gonna just instantly leave. But it's gonna take a long time to figure out. You want different things. You want a job in the games industry and they want to sell you a thing that you can't buy. So it's just not gonna work. All right. And now, did I do it right? Tips. All right. Ask questions. Ask questions like a lot. Like that's one of the most annoying things in the world to me is when I meet like a young person and I'm like, hey, I've made video games for 10 years. And they're like, I have nothing to say to you. It's like, what? How do you have nothing to say to me? I do what you want to do and I get paid for it. Why do you have no questions? So ask questions. That's what you do. Like, and respond well to people being interested. Be interested in their products, their career, their abilities. Like, don't like pry. Don't be like, hey, how's your wife? That's weird. Be like, hey, I heard this. You did this game. This was awesome. Like, let's talk about it. Like, be interested. Like, Google it over here. Like, look what they did and play their game. If it's a phone game, like, play their game. Come back the next day and be like, sweet game, dude. I played it. Here's what I thought. It's not PAX again, but don't wear a suit and tie. But like, maybe leave your Dragon Ball Z shirt at home, or save that for the Funimation party, which will probably not be there this year, but was there before. But yeah, don't look like an idiot. Like, just, it's simple. If you mess that up, I don't know what to do with you. This is sort of a general con thing, but remember to eat and drink, especially if you're there to network, because the worst thing is like meeting somebody and they look like they're about to die. Like, it's awkward. Like, I had someone faint during an interview because they forgot they didn't eat. And it's like, because it's like, so you need to schedule this stuff. So if you have an interview at 1, eat at noon. Because if you go into the interview and you're hungry, you're gonna get hangry and it's gonna be weird. Your business cards are not swag. I don't want it if I didn't meet you. I'm gonna throw it in the garbage. If we talked, it's basically like a bookmark. And it's basically like imagine my GDC experience is this giant book full of things I forgot. And your business card's a bookmark that's going to help me remember who you are. But if you just gave it to me, if you ran up and handed me a business card, I don't care. I'm gonna throw it away. So like, your business card doesn't mean anything if I didn't talk to you. So it's not swag. I don't want it. It's not like a t-shirt or a mug. If you have a mug with your face on it, I'll take that. Be courteous. It's really easy to not be, but there's a lot of people there, and people are very sensitive, and it's really easy to hurt feelings, and it's really easy to get your feelings hurt when someone talks about your game or whatever. Just be courteous. If someone, like, if you wouldn't want someone to say something about your game, and if someone goes up, your game sucks, bro, and it's like, okay, thanks, that's great feedback. It's a very rude industry. Like, this is something that we're working to change. We're trying our best, but this is a very rude industry. It's very, very forward, very in your face. We're trying to change that and be good, but a lot of people, people are going to be maybe a little aggressive with you, and that's something that you're going to have to deal with. But also, don't be that the best you can. And that's this is actually one of the most important parts for me. I lost my notes on it, so I guess I'll just talk about it. Before you go, learn to talk intelligently about video games. And this is something that you should have been learning a lot, but you probably are. But you have to learn to both critique a video game and speak intelligently about what the kind of games that you want to make. And this isn't like an industry press event. This isn't like you don't work in IGN. Like, nobody cares what you think about, like, no one cares that you didn't like Red Dead Redemption and everyone else did. Like, no one cares that you think, like, I don't know, what's some game that everyone likes?
PUBG.
Yeah, no one cares that you think you could make a better PUBG or whatever. No one cares. Like, go there with your ideas and be able to, like, speak well about the ideas that you have. And if you have game ideas, great. But don't go up to someone and be like, what if we just took Mario and we added, like, Battle Royale? It's like, boom, together. No, don't do that. It's stupid. Like, that's not an intelligent way to talk about a game it might be the best game you've ever heard of. That's like what you pitch to, like, an elevator room, and this is not an elevator room pitch. You have time to sort of get across your ideas. So I would say learn to speak intelligently both about the games that you want to make and the games that you have made. The hardest thing for me is playing someone's demo or whatever, and they just can't tell me why they did this, and they can't speak intelligently about what the decisions that they made along that process. And that is so frustrating because you're like, you spent dozens of hours on this. This is your life. This is your, like, life's work. This, like, if you die today, like, this is literally what we have left of you. Like, what am I gonna do with this? Like, you don't want, like, you want to be able to explain why you made this, what is important about it, what challenges you experienced along the way. And, like, I understand that that's hard, but that's something you have to practice. And I think it's a really good idea to think about the kind of games that you want to make and, like, learn to talk to other people around you. You can practice with the people here about those games that you want to make and about the games that you like. Again, you don't want to be a game critic. You're not a game critic, by the way. Like, you're game developers. You're not a game critic. We don't like give games scores. That's not a thing that we do. So I would say, like, this is an important skill that you have to learn before you go to, before you really go into the industry. But as a networking tool, it's very useful to, like, be able to talk like this and not resort to really, really lame, like, descriptions of games that just they're not creative. Like, you're all creative people. Like, if the best way you can explain your idea is it's X plus Z, then, like, why would anyone care? And finally, hold for applause.